Today I want to make another Destiny 2 rant video. I did one of these a few weeks back, and I'm going to try and introduce some new ideas, but if you didn't see that one, I'll link it in the description so you can see what I was saying in that one. But I got some new stuff to talk about, and the reason I'm making this video is because I just played this game for a long period of time today, and anytime I do that, I get really mad. So I wrote some notes down, and I have some stuff I want to discuss. As always, I timestamp everything, so if there's stuff that interests you more, just skip around in the video and go to it. Otherwise though, we'll get into the first topic. So the first topic I want to talk about is what I was actually doing during this play session. I was playing Rumble. I played like 25 Rumble games, and I have a few issues with what went down throughout all those matches. For starters, there's something wrong with the matchmaking. I had the vast majority of my games either start or end, or start and end with less than 6 people in the match. It's just a constant occurrence. And I don't understand the starting with less than 6 people thing. Like, the queue will end. You'll start to fly into the planet or wherever you're going. And I check the roster, and there's literally only 4 people there. No one's even left yet. It just immediately started out with only 4 people in the lobby. Then the match starts, people start joining late, and they leave immediately as well because there's a score differential. And when there's a score differential in Rumble, you just pretty much can't win anymore. And people are really just there to win, because the loot in Crucible is trash, and I'll address that later. So whatever's going on with that needs to be fixed. I don't know if that's a matchmaking error. The people leaving thing is just unfortunate. That's just the state of Rumble. People don't want to compete, and if it gets too bad, they'll leave. I've even left a few times too, so I'm guilty of it as well. But again, I'll address those later. And first I want to get to the next thing, which is what I was using during Rumble. And you probably already know if you've been watching my latest videos. I've been obsessed with this weapon. So we'll get to the next topic. So the weapon I was using in Rumble was Last Word. I love this gun, and it needs a buff, especially on mouse and keyboard. So how would I go about doing that? Well, I've said this many times before. First off, you give it the Deadman Stealth treatment. Bring its ADS damage back to 68, but reduce its rate of fire to something like 200 or 190 RPM. So that brings its time to kill more around like a 0.6 to a 0.65 second time to kill, similar to SMGs. And then you increase its range while ADS as well to like 23 to 24 meters. So again, just slightly outranging SMGs maybe, but basically around their range. The gun's a lot less forgiving than SMGs, so I don't think that would be a big deal. And that would allow you to try and engage hand cannon users a little bit more often, because you could still hit a pretty fast time to kill on a 4-tap if you're doing like 50 something damage from 28 meters away or whatever. So that would be my idea with the ADS. As far as hipfire goes, I think it's in a really good spot overall, but I think it does need a small marginal improvement for mouse and keyboard, like a 10% improvement to the cone sizes or whatever while hipfiring, because it just feels like it's a tad too unforgiving compared to every other gun in the game. Like, if you're shooting just off the head, and I'll show clips of different stuff going on in the background, if you're shooting just off the head, it's not giving you a shot, like even a body shot, which in an ideal world is a good thing, but in Destiny, compared to everything else, it's just not good. And if it's not up to par with other stuff in the game, no one's going to friggin' use it, which is why no one uses this gun on mouse and keyboard. That's sane. And I've just been suffering trying to use it because I love the gun. So again, seeing small improvements there I think would be a good thing, because this weapon is not in the game for the same reason it was when it first got put in. This got put in initially as a shotgun ape counter. People were shotgun aping from like 20 meters away and mapping you from like 8 meters away. Shotguns killed from way further, so did fusions. There was a place for this gun to melt like it used to. Now it's more of a dueling weapon with very punishing body shot time to kill, and I'm not recommending they get rid of that. I think it should still retain its crappy body shot time to kill, so it's very punishing if you miss. But I think it should be more rewarding if you hit your shots and more consistent at doing so, because it already is in such a small range band anyway. And I'd rather play against people using Last Word than SMGs. I'm so tired of SMGs. I'd like to see other things introduced into the meta. And with Thorn having a resurgence this season, let's get Last Word back up as well. Bring those two back together so they can clash once again. That's it for the Last Word. PvP changes. PvE, I have a little idea as well that I want to talk about, and it would come in the form of a catalyst that would read as follows. Rapidly dealing damage to different targets grants a stacking damage bonus until you reload or after a short duration it goes away. How exactly would that work? Or how much damage would that be? Probably to the likes of Lucky Pants would be my idea. So the philosophy is, if like a giant group of enemies spawns in, rather than just trying to take each enemy down one at a time, you'd flick between all the different targets and build up that damage bonus, and then try and use your last 2 or 3 shots on the yellow bar knight or whatever, like the core enemy that's got the high health bar, and try and shred him down. It would give the gun more of a gunslinger type of vibe, encouraging you to flick between targets rather than just never use it in PvE like you do now. So I think that'd be really cool, and if you pair it with Lucky Pants, it would be really strong as well, but it wouldn't allow you to just melt bosses and stuff. Like the single target damage wouldn't benefit that much because, again, you have to shoot different targets with my idea. It's like one for all on roids. And it would be a really short duration as well, so the second you stop shooting, it just kind of goes away, it fizzles out. It's just meant to be like a sustained fire, flick between targets, one mag, reload, and it's gone. So that's my idea for a little PvE buff. I think that'd be really cool. And with how strong Ag Clear has gotten at this point with ignitions and volatile rounds, I don't think it's a big deal that someone could flip out a last word and start melting a group of ads. Doesn't really matter. They could have done that with anything else in the game and blown them all up in one fell swoop. So that's my idea for last word. I'll move on to something else though, because I've been talking about this gun so much. Get to the next section. So for these next few things, I want to talk about random pain points I have in the Crucible that I didn't address in my previous video. And starting off, I want to talk about heavy ammo. Throughout these Rumble matches I was playing, I was noticing two things. One, everyone uses grenade launchers. Everyone was using them a while ago, and then they buffed them, and now everyone continued to use them. So they're just like the dominant heavy weapon. You get 3 shots, you can kill 3 people. Sometimes more than that if you get multi-kills. So they're a problem in and of itself. But I don't care too much about heavy ammo balancing. What I care more about is how available it is, and it's available far too much. In Rumble, you can get like 4, 5, 6 heavy ammo crates to spawn a game. Why? What is the point of that? Why do you have to provide so much heavy ammo to people? It ruins any gunfight that it's involved in, because it's just like an insta-kill, BS, easy mode version of the game. So chill on the heavy ammo. I want to see it literally drop to like once a game. One heavy ammo crate a game. Make it more of a big deal, like spawn it in the middle of the map and have Shaxx announce it. He's like, heavy ammo is spawning in the middle of the map, and everyone starts running over there and they're fighting over it. That's fine. Gives off a Halo vibe when like you see rocket launchers spawn in and people will be fighting over those to pick them up. That's fine. But it's too often that I'm dying to grenade launchers. It's not fun. So chill. Get that out of here. It's okay in trials because it only spawns like once or twice. There's like 1 round with it, or 2 rounds, I forget exactly, but it's good in trials. Comp, I think it's spawning way too frequently in as well. But especially in Rumble, Control, it's just too often that people are running around killing you with heavy. You already got supers and abilities in this game. Chill on the heavy. Make it more of an event, make it a little fun moment in the match. And if they can make matches shorter, which I want to talk about later, that would be even more of a reason to reduce the heavy ammo frequency. So I'll get to my next little thing. The next little thing I wanted to talk about was match duration. I think the matches are lasting too long in this game, and I don't think the score limits are matching the time limits of games as well. It seems like very often now, especially when I'm playing in Clash, the games don't end on score, they end on time, which is terrible. I think the score limit, especially for Clash, needs to be brought down, and I think across the board bringing score limits down in quick play would be a good thing, making the matches shorter. One of my viewers actually recommended this in my previous video, and I think that's a really good idea because it would get people to stay in matches more. They would feel less inclined to leave because they know the match is going to be over soon anyway. So getting matches down to like more of like a 5 to 6 minute duration rather than the current 7 to 8, I think would help a lot with people leaving. And again, only do that for quick play. I think trials and comp are fine with how long they last right now, and they're still tweaking comp pretty often, so keep doing what you're doing there. But for 6v6, seeing Clash's score limit go down to like 50 or 60, Rumble going down to like 15 kills, Control going down to like 100 points or whatever, I think it's at 150 right now. Seeing all that stuff reduced, shortening the matches, making them more just like quick bursts of, you know, having some fun, kind of like Call of Duty almost, I think would be a good thing. And then you can also ease up on the mercy roll stuff, because the game's already going to end quickly anyway. And that might scare a couple of low skill players out there, but it is what it is. You don't have to necessarily do that, but I think overall bringing those match durations down would be a good thing, especially the score limits, because the time limits right now have been getting hit very often in my Clash and Control games, especially when you're on maps like Disjunction and Multiplex, because they're just way too big. So reduce match durations, make them more fast, more action-packed. I think that'd be good. The next thing I want to talk about is loot drops in the Crucible, and what I'm about to suggest here could also be implemented for Strikes and Gambit. The issue with these playlists is that there's too much loot. That's not usually an issue for this game, but it is now. There's like 15 weapons that you can get to drop at the end of games, it feels like, and then even more in the legacy focusing. I want most of the weapons moved to legacy focusing, especially for PvP. Currently, Unending Tempest is literally the only good gun for Crucible. Frozen Orbit's actually really good as well, but that's a legacy focusing weapon already. The rest of the stuff that's dropping at the end of games is trash, to the point where the odds of you getting it on an Tempest at the end of a match are next to none. You have no expectation of getting it at the end of a game, so the game ends and you don't care what drops. It's not going to be what you want. You delete all of it and move on. That's not how it should work. At the end of a game, you should have a chance between only like 4 to 5 different Crucible weapons that are all very good PvP weapons. Like, imagine that. Imagine finishing every match with a chance at something good dropping. You know, that's how Destiny's supposed to be. That's how it used to be, with Eyes Lunas and Palindromes dropping at the end of games. It actually felt like something good could pop up on your screen, whereas now the odds of getting a good Unending Tempest are trash. And that's, again, the only good gun. So seeing most of the guns moved into legacy focusing, more guns added that follow suit with Unending Tempest and being really good in PvP would be so good for the game. So, like, again, 5 or 6 weapons, all good, dropping at the end of Crucible matches, and on top of that, the ones that do drop at the end of Crucible matches guarantee that they have 3 perks in each column. So there's even a further benefit of getting them at the end of a game rather than focusing them. Because I think the focus they've shifted toward focusing is not good for the game. It's not fun to go to the tower and turn in a pile of engrams. It's boring. I want that stuff to be dropping at the end of the games, and feeling like the things dropping at the end of the games have a chance of being good, unlike now. You know, seeing stuff like Fellwinter's Lie and Effort Eats Spear dropping an Iron Banner. This is the kind of stuff we need to make that playlist feel fun to play. Right now in Iron Banner, the drop rate of actual loot is garbage. Like, you'll get a couple of engrams at the end of a game and say, oh, go focus them. Lame. Get the guns dropping from the Iron Banner matches themselves. Like, this is where you should be staying in the matches longer instead of constantly going to the tower to turn stuff in. It's boring, and shifting the game back toward just being in the matches, going into match after match, that's where we need to move things, in my opinion. And again, you can apply all this to Gambit and Strikes as well. There's too much stuff there too, so reducing them, improving their drop rates for the better weapons, and then making better weapons for those particular activities, I think would be great. And I'll move on to my next topic, but I think this would be good stuff for the game. We're nearing the end of the video here, and there's just one last thing I want to talk about. And it's not even regarding PvP specifically, although this thing would provide me some PvP weapons that I want to try out. And that's actually the Dreaming City weapons and their implementation this season. Currently, the only way to get them is to do all the old Forsaken, Dreaming City activities that I've done a billion times. I have the Cursebreaker seal. I just don't want to go back there. I don't want to play Blind Well anymore. So please, don't make me do that. And they technically didn't make you do that, because you can also get them from Coil. But even there, they're not the focus of that activity either. And that's a very long activity. It takes like 45 minutes to complete. I don't want to farm that stuff, and the drop rates are awful. Add in a Dreaming City engram to Riven, because right now I'm just piling up Season of the Wish engrams. I got all the seasonal weapons craftable, all the Vex weapons craftable. So add in Dreaming City weapons to be focused. That way I can dump my engrams into that. And since they're not going to be craftable because Bungie are stingy, you'll actually have to dump in a lot of engrams, and it'll probably last me the whole freaking season trying to get a God Roll Retold Hail and a God Roll Twilight Oath. And I do want those guns. They have a good origin trait. Twilight Oath is really interesting. It gets snapshot opening shot, and it's a rapid fire sniper. There's not many good ones other than Cloud Strike in the game. Retold Hail is a great precision frame shotgun. It does have to compete with Matador, but gets quick draw snapshot. It's a good gun. I want that, but I do not want to get it the way I currently have to. So seeing it come back, or seeing an engram be added in to allow me to get it, would be awesome. But that's it for the video. Let me know what you thought in the comments. I'll always be responding to people. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like and a sub. That's going to be it though. Peace.